Scott Fitzgerald Countdown, 20 stories and novels that defined the Jazz Age and beyond. Scott Fitzgerald's career was a paradox. A man whose writing defined the 1920s, yet whose finest work often came from personal disillusionment. A chronicler of glamour who understood its emptiness better than anyone. Born in 1896, he was a Princeton dropout who found his way to literary immortality through elegance of style, precision of observation, and a lyrical sense of tragedy. In novels and short stories alike, Fitzgerald was a master of the moment. A party in full swing, a quiet confession, the second before a dream dissolves. His characters drink too much, love too recklessly, and watch their fortunes and illusions slip through their fingers. And yet, we can't help but root for them. This list is a celebration of his 20 most enduring works, ranked from number 20 to number 1. Each a key piece of the mosaic that makes Fitzgerald one of the greatest voices in American literature. 20. Benise Bobs Her Hair, 1920. First appearing in the Saturday Evening Post, this story was inspired by Fitzgerald's letters to his sister, advising her on how to be more popular. Benise is a shy, proper girl visiting her glamorous cousin Marjorie for the summer. Under Marjorie's tutelage, Benise learns to flirt, tease, and captivate the local boys. But when Marjorie turns on her, Benise exacts a spectacular revenge, cutting off her cousin's signature hair while she sleeps. It's pure jazz-age social combat, the cruelty masked by charm, the currency of looks and wit, the fleeting nature of popularity. Fitzgerald's dialogue here is sharp and knowing, his pacing tight. Legacy. It became one of his most anthologized stories and remains a favorite for its mix of light comedy and biting social observation. 19. Winter Dreams, 1922. First published in Metropolitan magazine, this bittersweet tale is often seen as a dress rehearsal for The Great Gatsby. Dexter Green, a caddie at a Minnesota golf club, rises into the world of the wealthy but is ensnared by his obsession with Judy Jones, a dazzling beauty who cannot be possessed. Fitzgerald charts Dexter's life in seasonal shifts: spring ambition, summer romance, autumn disappointment, winter loss. The ending, where Dexter learns Judy's beauty has faded and realizes the dream he'd cherished has gone, is devastating. Legacy, taught widely in American literature courses as a quintessential example of Fitzgerald's romantic fatalism and his theme of dreams corrupted by time. 18. The Ice Palace, 1920. Published in the Saturday Evening Post, this story follows Sally Carol Happer, a Southern belle who travels north to meet her fiancé's family. The icy climate and emotional reserve of her new environment prove stifling. The climax comes when she becomes lost in the maze of an actual ice palace, a scene that reads like a nightmare. The setting is no mere backdrop. The frozen north symbolizes alienation, just as Sally Carroll's sunny south represents warmth and familiarity. Legacy. This remains one of Fitzgerald's most effective uses of physical environment to mirror inner turmoil, and it showcases his sensitivity to cultural divides within America. 17. Mayday, 1920. Set in May 1919, this novella-length story is sprawling and chaotic. It cuts between Yale alumni celebrating a reunion, socialist labor agitators, and two impoverished ex-soldiers. Overlapping storylines culminate in drunken brawls, suicides, and romantic disillusionment. It's Fitzgerald tackling class conflict head-on, showing how the giddy surface of the post-war jazz age was undercut by deep social unrest. Legacy. Critics admire it as one of his most ambitious short works, though its grimness startled readers expecting pure glamour from the young author of this side of paradise. 16. The Vegetable, or From President to Postman, 1923. Fitzgerald's only play flopped so badly on stage that it closed after one night, a humiliation he never forgot. Yet the satire is sharp. A railroad clerk dreams of becoming president only to find political life absurd and ends up happily as a postman. Its humor skewers the emptiness of ambition and the delusion of the American dream, themes he would revisit with greater subtlety in later works. Legacy. Though unsuccessful in its time, it reveals Fitzgerald's willingness to experiment across genres. 15. The Offshore Pirate, 1920. Published in the Saturday Evening Post, this is a frothy romantic comedy. Ardita, a spoiled socialite, has her yacht captured by a charming pirate named Curtis Carlyle, only to discover the piracy is staged and the pirate is a millionaire. Light, breezy, and cinematic, it shows Fitzgerald's early knack for crafting crowd pleasers. Legacy. It's often cited as an example of his more whimsical magazine fiction, where banter and glamour take precedence over tragedy. 14. The Pat Hobby Stories, 1939 to 1941. Written for Esquire near the end of his life, these 17 linked sketches follow Pat Hobby, a washed-up screenwriter. Pat is lazy, scheming, and perpetually unlucky, but Fitzgerald infuses him with a kind of rueful humanity. The series lampoons Hollywood studio politics and the indignities of a fading career, with Fitzgerald clearly drawing on his own experiences as a struggling screenwriter. Legacy. They stand as some of the era's sharpest Hollywood satires, influencing later showbiz fiction. 13. The Rich Boy, 1926. Opening with the immortal line, "Let me tell you about the very rich." They are different from you and me. This novella-length story dissects the life of Anson Hunter, a man whose wealth protects him from consequences, but leaves him emotionally stunted. The narrative spans years and failed relationships, building a portrait of waste and detachment. Legacy. Its famous first sentence has been quoted and misquoted for decades, often detached from the nuanced character study that follows. 12th. The Beautiful and Damned, 1922. Fitzgerald's second novel charts the rise and fall of Anthony and Gloria Patch, whose gilded marriage corrodes under idleness, alcohol, and a delayed inheritance. The book blends lush depictions of jazz-age parties with sobering portraits of wasted potential. While sprawling and uneven, it's unflinching about the price of self-indulgence. Legacy. Seen as a transitional work between the youthful exuberance of This Side of Paradise and the artistry of Gatsby. 11th. Absolution, 1924. Intended as a preface to The Great Gatsby, this story portrays a devout boy, Rudolph Miller, whose imaginative lies to a priest hint at Gatsby's own invented past. Though cut from the novel, it enriches our sense of Gatsby as a boy longing for reinvention. Legacy. Scholars still debate how it might have altered Gatsby's tone had it been included. Jazante. Crazy Sunday, 1932. Based on Fitzgerald's Hollywood years, this story follows screenwriter Joel Coles, who attends a disastrous Sunday party, offends the wrong people, and finds himself entangled in the crumbling marriage of a movie star. The mix of glamour and humiliation is pure Fitzgerald, revealing the social minefields of 1930s. Hollywood. Legacy. Frequently anthologized as one of his best Hollywood stories, alongside The Last Tycoon. 9. The Diamond as Big as the Ritz, 1922. This fantastical novella imagines the Washington family, whose mountain estate sits atop a diamond so large it could collapse the world economy. Their extreme wealth leads to extreme measures to keep it secret, including murder. Part satire, part fairy tale, it's Fitzgerald's wildest take on greed and moral corruption. Legacy. Beloved for its audacity and wit, it remains a favorite among readers who enjoy his more surreal side. 8. Tender is the Night, 1934. Following glamorous expatriates Dick and Nicole Diver on the French Riviera, this novel reveals, over 3 acts, the unraveling of their marriage. Nicole's mental illness and Dick's decline as a psychiatrist and husband create a slow-motion tragedy. Drawn heavily from Fitzgerald's marriage to Zelda, the novel's lush settings contrast with its painful emotional realism. Legacy. Initially a commercial disappointment, it has since been re-evaluated as a mature, haunting work, and some argue it's his true masterpiece. 7. Babylon Revisited, 1931. Charlie Wales, an American in Paris after the 1929 crash, tries to reclaim custody of his daughter from his in-laws, but his past and an ill-timed visit from old drinking companions undermines him. It's a perfect balance of regret, love, and the inability to escape one's mistakes. Legacy. Often ranked among the greatest American short stories, it's a model of compression and emotional impact. 6. The Cut Glass Bowl, 1920. A wedding gift, a massive cut glass bowl, becomes an emblem of the protagonist's compromises and misfortunes over decades. Each tragedy seems to refract through the bowl's cold glitter. Legacy. Admired for its masterful use of symbolism, showing Fitzgerald's ability to give objects a life and fate of their own. 5. The Sensible Thing, 1924. George O'Kelly loses his first love due to poverty. Years later, he returns wealthy and rekindles the romance, only to realize the youthful magic is gone. Legacy. A quintessential Fitzgerald meditation on time's erosion of passion. 4. This Side of Paradise, 1920. The debut novel that made Fitzgerald famous overnight follows Amory Blaine's journey from Princeton student to post-war drifter. It's episodic, youthful, and brimming with experimentation. Legacy captured the voice of a generation hungry for experience after World War I, launched Fitzgerald's literary and social career. 3. The Last Tycoon, unfinished, 1941. Fitzgerald's final novel centers on Monroe Starr, a brilliant Hollywood producer. The fragments we have show his growing realism and maturity as he dissects power, creativity, and romance in the studio system. Legacy. Even unfinished, it's revered for its promise of a new creative chapter cut short by his death. 2. The Great Gatsby, 1925. The story of Jay Gatsby's doomed love for Daisy Buchanan, told by Nick Carraway, is Fitzgerald's most famous work and a staple of American literature. Every sentence is honed, every symbol, the green light, the valley of ashes, resonates. Legacy. Initially a modest seller, it became iconic after World War II and is now considered the great American novel of longing, reinvention, and disillusionment. 1. The Crack-Up, 1936. This trilogy of autobiographical essays in Esquire reveals Fitzgerald stripped of glamour, broke, sick, and confronting his failures. It's unsparing, lucid, and deeply moving. Legacy. A touchstone for writers facing burnout, it reframes his fiction as the work of a man intimately acquainted with both hope and collapse.